Hi guys, welcome back to Finding Your Indie. I'm Bonnie Paulson, and today we're talking about the exact process from going from to do an audiobook. So we're gonna actually just start. I'm just gonna get started with it. And this is kind of a rough thing. Remember, I've been doing some Shopify videos. I had a couple people who were like, Bonnie, I noticed on your YouTube channel you have some AI audiobooks, and you also offer them on your website. And I do. I have both of them. I actually have my kids do my audiobooks because the process is pretty simple. It just is time consuming. So I'm gonna actually walk you through what I do and what I have them do and how I have them trained so that I get audiobooks up on my YouTube channel and up on my store. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Right now you can see I'm in Bookfunnel. That's not the process until the end. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take you into my Word document. So what I do is I take the initial, like the original final draft of my book, and then I rename it. As you can see right here, it has audio at the end of the name. Then what I do is I come in and I start changing things, like the title of the book, the title page. It says, "You're listening to One More Chance, comma." Anytime you do AI, and I use 11 Labs, anytime you use AI, you really have to understand the usage of commas and periods, exclamation points, all of that stuff, because the better AI gets, the more inflection and like emotion and tone that goes into it as you use your grammar appropriately. What I've done is you can see the title page. You are listening to One More Chance, comma, Book 1 of the Mistletoe Matchmakers of Clearwater County Romances by Bonnie R. Paulson. Now it does a very brief pause. It's not quite the same half second pause here with the comma. It's more like a quarter of a second pause, but I kind of want that before we go into Bonnie R. Paulson. Okay, then what happens is it goes from there and it goes down to One More Chance, and it actually does the blurb. I always do the blurb so that they know what they're getting into. And then chapter 1. Now, this is something I want you to pay attention to, and we're going to go into this when I move into this next section. In 11 Labs, which is what I use, I'm not an affiliate for 11 Labs. I don't care what program or process you use. I really don't care. So I'm using 11 Labs. I like them the best. They actually have my voice in there now, which is great. I've trained it to do my voice, which is awesome. Obviously not when my throat hurts and I don't sound this great, but you get what I'm saying. Okay, so I have my daughter trained to use my name and then to use a male name for the male chapters, the male narrated chapters. And that's because I write romance. So right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure and grab from chapter 1, and I'm going to drag it down, and it's about a page and a half. I'll go page and 3/4, and it's not based on words. It's based on characters, including spaces. Spaces are characters. So I'm going to Command C, Control that, or copy that, and I'm going to go up here to 11 Labs, which I've already got it open. I'm going to go to speech. My subscription is, I think I've got the $99 one. And you can see that right here, what I would do is I would paste it in, and you can see how it's at 4,340 out of 5,000 characters. Now I pay for mine, so I get the 5,000 characters. If you don't pay, I think it's like 2,500 characters and you only get like 2 or 3 freebies. I don't mind paying for it. I'm happy with it. I really think I think the program's great. I think it works awesome. So what I've done is I've done this in here. I've pasted this in here, but I want to make sure and take out some of these things. For instance, I don't want to pay for that paragraph space, but I do want to put in a period, and I do want to put a period in here because I want the full 3/4 of a second pause in between each of those. So it would say something like chapter 1, Taylor Dean. Does that make sense? Okay. And it will come down and it will do the same thing. It'll do the inflections. It'll do all that. But see how I also have this right here? Watch the characters down here when I take out that space. I just got back a whole character. So, and trust me, they add up. I have used the 2 million in a month and I have flown through them. Right now I'm on the 500,000 a month because that's what my daughter and I have kind of figured out is our pace that we can do right now. But sometimes I do go up if she needs more hours or down, whatever. It just depends. So I would hit generate speech on this one. Now, I don't have very many left for this month, so I'm not going to actually hit generate speech. But I have it set to my voice, and she can use any of my voices that I have set in here for anything. She knows what she's supposed to pick. Another nice thing about 11 Labs, and again, this is not 11 Labs commercial. I don't care what you use. What I do like about 11 Labs is they have a history where I can go in and find the chapter and download it. I can also play it to see if I like the way it sounds. And since my daughter works for me, I can double check and be like, dude, why was this one done like 6 times? That took up all of those characters. So it's a really great way to kind of keep track of stuff. You can also organize things in projects and according to voices, and you can include sound effects, which again, is super awesome as you're doing these things. You can dub in and fix it. You can also go in and be like, I want this fixed. There's a lot of great things that you can do with AI now, and it sounds neat. As long as you're fully transparent, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And especially as, like, for instance, I've told my readers repeatedly that if we sell these audiobooks, I will be able to afford to do a narration, right? Because honestly, narrations sound better when they're actually narrated by a person. They sound awesome. But for right now, this is where I'm going to have to be. And that's okay, because I'm doing my business the way I want to do my business. Okay, so let's say I've downloaded them, and they're obviously not going to be in full chapters because you can only do 5,000 sections at a time. This is my workaround for that. And this is something I've taught my kids. Again, so I'm doing, the one that I'm doing an example of is book 2, One More Secret. I've downloaded these 4 chunks of this chapter 28 to show you. So it'll be like the first chunk that we would have just done. I would have downloaded it and called it book 2, or the book title, book 2, chapter 28A. Then the next chunk that I would get from this, I would come in here, start right back where I left off, and go again about 1.5 pages, almost 2 pages. Grab that, go in. That chunk I would download, and I would name it 28B or whatever it is. Okay, so I have these 4 here to show you. Now, here's the really cool part. You don't have to make any major program or software purchases. I do use Camtasia, and that's what my son has been using until we switch to a different computer. I'm not going to license Camtasia for another computer. It's like $300 or $400 every time I run out of these licenses. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to use Capwing. I'm going to show you how to use it. It's very similar to Camtasia, and you can use it to do your YouTube videos if you're doing YouTube channel, and you can also use it to do your audio files. You can use it for a lot of things. I'm going to show you right now how I do that, and I'm going to utilize these 4 chapter sections to show you. Okay, so I will have like audio, translated, narrated, whatever you want to call this, the entire files for one book. Not going to sit here and do all the books. I do one at a time. The kids do one at a time. Then what I do is I go into Capwing, and Capwing is Kapwing.com. Okay, and then what I do is I start I go into a project. I have projects, and I go into a new file, new media, excuse me. Okay, so here is a brand new one. This was what I was using for my test to show my son how to do it. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to add the media, and we're going to actually go in, and I'm going to grab those 28 file chunkets. Oops, let me move my head out of the way. Sorry, my head's moving all over the place. Okay, so then I'm just going to drag and drop them in here. It will do whatever you want. Being organized is like super key. So if I was going to name this one, I would name it right here, and I would name it chapter 28, like OMS, exactly the same thing. OMS book 2, and then I would spell out chapter. So if you notice in these chunks for my daughter, because she processes and gets them narrated, and my son, he processes them in here, so then I know that they're ready. And what he does is he spells out chapter. When they have chapter spelled out, I know it's been processed from narrated into the actual full chapters, because in Bookfunnel, which is what you use to deliver it, you have to go by chapters. You can't be like chapter 1A, chapter 1B, okay? It has to be done in full chapters. So this is what I use Capwing for. Okay, so we're going to come in here, and you can see where it says D, B, C, A, okay? So what's really cool is we are going to start with a blank canvas, and because I will be putting these on YouTube, I want to go with the 16:9, which is the YouTube one. And then you're going to drag over, and then you drag one file over, and it puts it down on your timeline. This is what you want. You want the timeline, because honestly, if you're not going to be doing the video, this doesn't matter. Okay, so then I'm going to drag down the second one, and then I'm going to do C, and then I'm going to do D. Oops, and make sure they're right up next to each other. You don't want any overlapping. That's why you're only doing one layer. Okay, now I'm going to move my head over to the side. I'm going all over the place. Okay, now I can trim it. I can change it. I can do whatever I want. It's 13 minutes, and it's about 14:42 is what it's saying.
Carrie hung up the phone and glanced at
So you can hear it's been narrated. Okay, you can adjust the speed. You can adjust your volume. You can clean up your audio. Mine's narrated by AI, so I'm not really worried about that. But there's a lot of things that you can do in here. Like I said, you can speed up all the things, do your timing, add in your effects, do your fading, whatever. Now, if you were going to do a YouTube video, I would put some kind of a video in here, some kind of an image. You can add videos over here, add images. YouTube, I'm going to make a huge recommendation right now. I recommend that you have some kind of moving parts. So what I like to do is I'll go into like Pixabay, which is free. I'll get like a free video and be like, I don't know, like flames. Okay, have that one for, because I do apocalyptic thrillers, right? So I'll have flames cooking in the background. And then what I'll do is I will put my book cover in front and be like, you are listening to da da da, and the flames are cooking in the background, like they're moving. Or I had a Christmas one and I had snowflakes falling. Like, this is really, it's the best practice, I guess you might say, to avoid getting your videos shut down or locked out, right? Now, if you have restricted content like mine does, apocalyptic thrillers, I have, unaliving people and terrorist stuff and all the things, you have to watch for that. Sex scenes, something you got to watch for. You might even do where you're like, for the bonus scenes, and then you go on and take those out. For the bonus scenes for your YouTube channel, for bonus scenes for the audiobooks, the steamy scenes, you can go and pick those up for free on my website, or you can download those, or you can buy them. You can buy the whole thing with a complete book. You can do samples. There's so much you can do on YouTube with this. Treat it like another income stream or like another way to get into your funnel. It's all we got to do, right? Make sure that we're appealing to readers. And so like, that's huge. So I would do that here and add the images, like I said here, or the videos. You can add audio, whatever. Now that we are at this point, I've got the chapter in, the chapter is ready. I'm not going to add any more chapters. Okay. I'm going to export the product. If I was doing this as a YouTube video, I would put all of it together. It would be the entire product. I would not have separate chapters. Okay. I would have the entire thing in there. You do have to pay for Capwing to have like longer than 2 hours or longer than an hour or whatever it is. So I think the free trial only does 5 minutes. So if you're going to try it, definitely give it a try, but then you're going to have to pay for it. And I think mine is $24 a month is how much I'm paying for it. And I can export like a massive amount. But yeah, so MP4 is what you would use for YouTube. That's a video, MP4. MP3 is what you would use for your audiobooks. Now, this is the main reason why we came on here, is to talk about this, not just to talk about YouTube, but to be able to go from AI narration into an MP3 option for your website. What I like about the AI is I don't have to stress out about all of the different audio portions of it, right? I think it sounds pretty good. It sounds good to me. I tested on my phone. I have these really weird, cheapy earphones, whatever, earbuds in, and it still sounds pretty good. So for me, I'm going to go with that. That's okay. So I'm going to pick MP3 and I'm going to export as MP3. Okay. And I'm just going to hit, it says it's going to be converted into MP3 audio file. Do it. Like, let's do this, dude. And then it'll take that chapter, and you have to do chapter by chapter. You have to do chapter by chapter, because what happens is when we get into a book funnel, I'm going to show you what you're going to do and how you're going to set this up. And it has to be done the correct way. If you are doing it like in full chunks, like 4 chapters in one chunk, you will not have the, what's it called? Like the table of contents. Like, they won't be able to search it. They won't be able to go in and be like, oh, where's chapter 2? Where's chapter 3? Okay. So then I would download this. Okay. So I would click download and I would save it. Okay. Next thing I'm going to show you is, and you get that cute little diddly. Okay. So it tells you it's ready to go. So this one is chapter 28, right? So then what I would do is I would have all those compiled and all those ready to go. Then I would go into Bookfunnel, and here we go. I would go into books, and it's really nicely organized. They're like, hey, do you want to do ebooks, audiobooks, or short audio? And I'm like, dude, I want to do audiobooks, right? I want to do a brand new audiobook. Oh my gosh, my head needs to get out of the way. Then I would do add new audiobook. So I am going to add a new audiobook. I'm actually going to name it something else, because I've got this book has already been done, the one that I did the example of. And I'm going to do this book right here. Oop, okay, I'm just going to make up a book title because, okay, so I would go Watch Me Burn. I always make sure and say it's my audiobook. I'm going to say this is for DS. It's going to be for direct store or direct sales. This is where it is, okay? So this is not in a series, so I don't need to worry about that. But the book label is how you find this book later when you're looking for your sales. And again, I'll show you that. It's not a big deal. I might even show you in a different video, but I'll show you how to do this. But I'll show why this is important. You can't just call it audiobook. Okay. You have to literally be like, and I always do it the exact same thing as the book title, because we see the book title. Okay. So author name, this one is a B.R. Paulson book. I'm going to do full book. And then I have the narrator, and I have named my narrator. So this one would probably be Bella Paulson. And then I don't have a series for this one. Actually, I might call it Psycho series. Okay, and we'll just say this is volume 1. Okay, then I would put the description in here. I would put the blurb, okay? And you can put your tagline and note to readers, whatever you want to do. Then you hit create audiobook. And what's nice is you can always come back in to do these sections later if you need to. Okay, then I would do my book cover. Here's what I would do. It is an audiobook. I would do the square, okay? I would do the 1080 by 1080 or the 3000 by 3000, whatever you need to do. But I would definitely put an audiobook cover in there that says like audiobook, because when they go to their Bookfunnel, when the reader goes to their Bookfunnel library, it looks lovely when all of the audiobooks are kind of by themselves and they look the same, right? It's very easy to see. The same thing like what you see on Amazon. Okay, so then what I would do is you come in here and you upload your files. Okay, and we're gonna go into, okay, now we're gonna pretend that this chapter was finished. So we're gonna grab this book or this chapter and we're gonna upload it. Now what's really cool is it orders them alphabetically as they're added. You can say, I don't want that, okay? And obviously this was not finished correctly, but you can call it introduction, opening credits, acknowledgements, prologue, first chapter, numbered chapter, epilogue, end credits, outro, custom. Like, this is great. This helps keep your files organized the way that they're supposed to be organized. So as you're uploading all of them, you go through and you double check to make sure each one is assigned where it's supposed to be and it's assigned the correct thing. Once you're finished and you'll hit submit, make sure you're correct, because once it's done, okay? Then you would go into, and I'll just do this really fast, then you would go in here and you would go to your sales thing. And this is a setup for your direct store, for Bookfunnel, for your audiobooks or your ebooks, but you would create a transaction, okay? I swear to crap, my head. Okay, new delivery action. And then you just do your delivery name, and this is where you choose the book label. This is important. If you did not do this correctly, and you just have a bunch of audiobooks and it just says audiobooks on everybody, you literally will not know what audiobook it is. So if I were you, I would go back through and I would label them correctly. Okay, wrong place, right time, audiobook, DS, audiobook, whatever. Like, it says ebook, all the things. Make sure you do it right, and then you connect through PayPal or Shopify or PayHip, whatever. And then once you click those, then that's where you put your link. And you can also set up a pre-order for delivery. Okay, so there's like a lot of ways that you can actually cook this and make it work, but that's just how I do it step by step. I'm going to see if I can somehow get like a checklist or something up for you guys so you can kind of watch that and you have a checklist, you can see what you're doing. I'm not sure how I turn that into a checklist, but I'll see what I can do. Again, this was just a fast, quick way of how I get audiobooks up for Shopify and for my YouTube channel. So if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments. I'd love to answer anything that you have, and look for us on, my goodness, everywhere. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And sorry again about the stumbling. I have not been feeling well lately. Okay, thanks you guys, and I hope you have a great day.